Imperium Universalis needs to be stopped. Or does it? Let's take a look. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be checking out the Imperium Universalis mod for EU4. If you enjoy this video, don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe, since only 20% of you are subscribed, and you can become a member today. So, Imperium Universalis, huh? This is what the starting screen looks like, and let's click on single player, where we get this awesome animation that sends us over here. But let's zoom out and you can see that the map is drastically different from regular EU4. That's because this mod starts in the year 612 BC in the fall of Nineveh start date. So we basically get to play as some ancient nations in this mod, of course, like I said, in the year 612 BC, and this is what the world looks like, well, at least in this mod, in that year. Very different from regular EU4. If you're a fan of this time period, of course, you would be familiar with this, but if not, you will still have a lot of fun playing this mod. So let's explain it a bit. So like it says right here, the former subjects of Assyria have broken free and started a war against their former overlord. So basically in this start date, the nation of Babylonia here, if we click on the diplomatic map mode, along with all of these guys in the green, have declared an independence war against the Assyrian Empire. After years of fighting, an allied army of Babylonian, Medes, Scythians, Sagartians, and Persians besieged and conquered Ashur, and most importantly, Nineveh, the capital of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. This guy, king of Assyria, was killed in the sacking. Meanwhile, the Egyptian 26th dynasty of Sais contemplates patiently for the outcome of this war. So that's basically the start date explained. Babylon and these other guys declared war on their overlord Assyria. And these are the recommended countries in this start date. So we have Babylonia, of course, Assyria, Egypt right here, Media over here, Susun right here, Samaria over here, Ishkuza located right here, and Urartu located right here. So let's jump in and take a look at everything that this mod has to offer. And here we are in the game. This is the entire map. Basically, we have Europe with the exception of Scandinavia, the northern half of Africa, and almost the entirety of Asia with the exception of some Southeast Asian regions and the far north of Siberia. Let's start off in Europe. Firstly, we have the British Isles, where here we can see some nations that are located here. Of course, the northern half of Ireland is basically uninhabited. Of course, colonization does exist in this mod as well. So here's some provinces that are free for taking. The culture in the British Isles is Brythonic, Gaelic, and Caledonian, and the religion is Celtic. All of these nations follow the Celtic religion. As you can see, the map is arranged in a different order. Of course it would be, and it is very detailed in some places, let me tell you. Maybe not so much in Great Britain, but once I get to the Middle East, you will see. Of course, here we have the province of London. It is not London yet, of course, it's just Londonium. And it's ruled by this nation right here, Trinovates. They're a tribal federation, and they have this chief right here. And these are all the nations in the British Isles. This is how the trade nodes are divided. So we have the Britannia trade node and the Mare Britannicum trade node over here, which also encompasses the northern parts of the French region, reaching into the lowlands. Of course, I'm explaining this in regular EU4 terms, but reaching into the lowlands as well as parts of southern Ireland too. Moving over to France, this is what the French region looks like. We have the Parisi right here, located in, well, not yet Paris, but I do think this province is supposed to be Paris, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, it's somewhere around here. This is the culture in this region. This is what it looks like. So we have the Gaulish group, as well as the Aquitani group, the Ligures group, and even Hellenic culture over here in this province right here. So it's definitely a lot more different than regular EU4. We have Central Gaul, Southern Gaul, Belgique, Armorican, Aquitanian, Ionic. These are the four culture groups in the Gaulish. Aquitani is its own culture group, along with Vascones, and the Ligures are basically in Italy as well as southern France. Of course, the Ionic culture is part of the Hellenic culture group, which is all over, as you can see. These guys over here also follow the Celtic religion, well, much of Western Europe does, and this is what the trade nodes look like over here. Like I said, we have the Mare Britannicum, the Mare Gallicum, Gallia, Narbonensis, and Belgica, as well as the Ligurian Sea trade node down here. Going over to Iberia, we can see the Iberian nations, of course. Some of you may find it funny that there are some uncolonized provinces over here as well as down here, and we even have navigable rivers, the Iberus River going over here. Of course, the Pyrenees will be impassable terrain. This is what the culture map mode looks like in Iberia. We have the Ibero-Celtic, the Iberian, and the Turdetani culture group, so much more different than regular EU4. This is the Ibero-Celtic culture group. Some of these, of course, are predecessors to cultures we can see in EU4, such as this one, which is basically Galician. This is the Iberian group, and this is the Turdetani group. We even have Punic down here, which is part of the Northwest Semitic culture group spanning the entire Mediterranean. We'll get back to that shortly. Going over to Italy, we can see some of the Italian nations, and I do think we have a fan favorite one right here. Of course, you can play as them. We have the nation of Rome, located in the province of Rome and Ostia. The seeds have just been sown for the creation of this nation, and can you take Rome from a 2-province minor to conquering the entire Mediterranean and reaching their historical peak borders? You can definitely try. Either way, this is the religion map mode in Italy. Oh, by the way, this is it in Iberia. We also have the Iberian religion present over here, as well as the Khanite one down here in the Punic cultured provinces. In Italy, though, we have the Etrusca Disciplina religion. It's also present over here in basically what is southern Germany. We also have the Dei Consentes, the Illyrian religion, present on this side of Italy. Down here we have the Olympioi faith, which is basically a Greek one, and we also have the Nuragic faith present on Sardinia. Let's see, what does Rome follow? So they follow the Dei Consentes religion. It gives us plus 25% stab cost and minus 0.1 monthly war exhaustion. This is the culture group in Italy. We have the Eastern Celtic culture group reaching over here, the Ligurian, the Venetian, Etruscan right here. Then we have the Italian proper right here in these provinces. This is the Latin one present in Rome and one other province in the nation of Latium. We also have this culture right here, which is part of the Illyrian culture group, and some Hellenic provinces down here, and some Punic ones too. These are the trade nodes, are very different from regular EU4, one in the middle, and basically Venice and Genoa over here. Another one right here, spanning the northern coast of Africa, as well as Sicily, Sardinia, and the Naples region, and the Ionian Sea one going down here. This is Germany. Of course, a lot of it is uninhabited. We even have the Teutons up here. Of course, they're not the same ones as vanilla EU4, but they could be similar. Lots of this is uninhabited, and these are basically, you know, sort of more tribal nations. We have the Eastern Celtic culture up here, the Germanic one up here, even Nordic in Scandinavia with basically the Danes over here. We have the IST culture group right here. These are Baltic culture group, as we can see, Balto-Slavic group. Going down to the Balkans, we have the Illyrian culture, the Daco-Thracian, the Macedon, and the Hellenic. Going back to the political map mode, we can see all the Greek nation states. We even have Sparta down here. They are allied to Taurus, and they will be one of the more popular nations to play in this mod. As you can see, the detail on the map is crazy in this region. So many tiny city-states, all vying for dominance of Greece. I like those unit models though, they are very, very cool. Now imagine playing over here in this region. You thought the HRE was a nightmare? Try this out for size. Going into the religion, of course they all follow the Olympioi faith, and we have some other faiths over here. Going into the culture, we have the Hellenic culture over here with lots of different cultures, and we even have the Macedon culture group, which is its own culture basically. Another very popular nation over here located is Macedonia. You will be playing as them for sure. And going over here, we even have the nation of Byzantium in the fan favorite province of Byzantium. Of course, it is farmlands. This is what the trade node situation looks like in the Balkans. A couple of trade nodes, very strangely placed if I may say so myself, but they do look good. Going over to Anatolia, we are starting to see some bigger nations over here as opposed to most of Europe, which is basically divided up by smaller nations, which weren't really nations at the time, but they are in this mod. And we're starting to get in the region where this mod basically focuses on the Middle East. Oh, by the way, I didn't show the subcontinent map mode. This is what it looks like. Britannia, Hispania, Celtica, Italia, Germania, Hyamusia, Macedonia, Asia, Scythia, Trans-Euphratia, Mesopotamia, Arabia, Egypt, Libya, of course, Ethiopia, that's where some of these nations got their names from, Iran, and going over further into Asia, we have China, Northern India, Southern India. I'm not gonna try and pronounce these names. This is what the regions look like, and going over here, like I said, we have the main nations that this mod focuses on. Now, you might think Assyria is huge, but look at all the wastelands that they have in their territories. Of course, it is immensely detailed. I mean, just look at these provinces. We have Euphrates River right here, as well as the Tigris. And here we have the province of Babylon, maybe the most developed province in this mod. Here we can see the pops, and I'll get to them pretty soon. These are some other nations located in the Caucasus. This is what Iran looks like. Various nations over here. We can also see the culture groups. We have the Northwest Semitic. Like I said, it spans most of the Levant and the central Mediterranean regions. We also have the Eastern Semitic right here. The Egyptian group, divided into two separate cultures. This is the culture group present in North Africa and even West Africa. It's the Mazikes group. We have the Cushitic cultures right here and these cultures over here. This is what the religion situation looks like. The Khanite faith is present over here, and some other religions that I'm not gonna try and pronounce just yet. Of course, the African religion takes up a big portion of Africa right here. We also have Arabic, Iranian, some other faiths in India, and the Tabbatist one taking a big portion of Euro-Asia. And these are the Egyptian unit models, looking very nice if I say so myself. Once again, the provinces look exquisite. This is what the political situation looks like in Iran, in India, and in China. Some small Chinese nations vying for dominance in northern China, and some larger ones being featured in the south. This is their culture situation, their religious situation. This is the trade node setup in this part of the region. I can almost see the Silk Road, and that's pretty much what the political situation looks like in the map in this mod. Now let's get into some more intricacies that are featured in this mod, like the mechanics, ages, governments, ideas, and much more. Now here I have tagged into the nation of Babylonia, where I can show you guys all the mechanics and nation specific things. First, let's take a look at the government reforms, and we can see that there are major changes compared to regular EU4. We're in Assyrian administration right now. Here are some other tier 1 government reforms such as despotism, aristocratic monarchy, and Chinese feudalism. And of course on tier 2 you can choose focus, is basically what you want your nation to focus on, as the name says. On tier 3 these are some estate related reforms. Tier 5 we have some legal reforms, written laws, customary law, religious law. We have centralization or decentralization at tier 5, army related reforms at tier 6, some absolutism related reforms at tier 7, basically if you want your country to be feudal or more absolutist. At tier 5 we also have some centralization or decentralization stuff or focus on trade, and at tier 9 you can basically flip out of your first government reform, as we can see, secure the powers of the king or transition to an oligarchy. Going over to the macro builder, we can see all the buildings you can construct in this mod. We have trade related buildings such as marketplaces and merchant quarters, religious buildings, shrine, small temple, great temple, government buildings, forum, town hall, government palace, government district, embassy, diplomat's quarter. Now look at this, it gives us +4 diplomatic relations. I know some of these stuff look OP, but they will sure be fun to play around with. Naval buildings over here, ship related stuff of course, harbor buildings, some more production buildings, irrigation system, aqueducts, great estate, quarry, mine, mining network, craftsman, workshop, artisans quarters. So buildings you can make money with. Army buildings here such as army camp, garrison, military settlement and training camp, granaries and grain depots, special buildings such as great garden, military monument, naval monument, imperial palace, stuff like that. Taxation buildings such as taxman and tax office, forts, we have a citadel, a fortress, and a border garrison. We even have roads such as gravel road, pave road, and imperial road. All very nice to see. Culture related buildings such as public baths, thermae, odiums, theaters, amphitheaters, and colosseums. Let's try and build some colosseums. Academies for math, philosophy, military, libraries, great libraries, health buildings, manufactories, and other infrastructure buildings such as land reclamation, expand villages and working fields, expand cities and workshops, and expand villas and security, which all increase the number of possible buildings. Now if we click on a province, we can see that the development is not quite classic. Oh look, Babylon already has 7 buildings, that's pretty crazy. Going back to dev, it's not really dev, we have pops. You may be familiar with this mechanic from Victoria 2 and 3. It's not exactly like that, but we have upper class population instead of tax, commoner population instead of production, and tribal population instead of military. We also have some various state edicts such as bread and circuses, promote architecture, trade, auxiliary recruitment, basically focus on the army, on trade, on tax, and on unrest and stuff like that. You guys, you have no idea how detailed this mod is, man. Look at the mission tree that Babylon has. Going into the religion, we can see the Enuma Elish faith, various deities right here. Almost every religion has unique stuff tied to it, so none of them will be boring. Lots of the major nations have mission trees. Look at the decisions we can take, so many decisions. Estates are basically the same as EU4, nothing too much to go into over here. We start off at Tech 3, of course, these are the most advanced nations in this mod. Some of these have Tech 1, some of them have Tech 0, but it does go all the way up to 55, I think. Speaking of tech, going into the ideas, we can pick 12 idea groups, and there are a ton of them to pick from. The choices are massive. We have admin, academic, royal court, engineering ideas, ceremonial custom ideas, government, financial, agriculture, assimilation, lots and lots of idea groups to pick from, where you can choose on what your nation will focus on, whether it will be warfare, trade, agriculture, maritime empires, you name it. We have maritime trade ideas, inland trade ideas, depending on where your nation is. So maybe if you're playing as this nation right here, you're going to want to take inland trade ideas. If you're playing as this nation right here, you might want to take maritime trade ideas. We have expansion, diplomatic, maritime, ship construction, imperial, syncretism, propaganda. Going over to the military idea groups, we have infantry ideas. Of course, they focus on infantry, cavalry ideas, naval warfare, marauder ideas. That's a very cool idea group over here. Mercenary ideas, leadership, fortress, logistic, and skirmisher. Like I said, lots and lots of idea groups to pick from, where you can focus on what your nation will do best. These are the factions that Babylonia, for example, has the nobility and the monarch. Basically, you need to balance them. How powerful will the monarch be versus the nobles in the nation? Now I'm back in the observer mode, where we can take a look at the trade goods, and let me tell you, does this look more detailed than regular EU4 to you? Because it sure does to me. Look at these guys over here. They're producing copper. What about these guys over here? Iron. These guys right here, grain. Right, those weren't very good picks, but these guys over here, they're making olives. These guys right here, they're making honey. Over here, they're making opium. Bruh. Either way, there's tons of new trade goods, and if we go into the ledger, we can see all of them. We have amber, ceramic, copper, elephants, exotic animals, fruits, herbs, honey, horses even, jade, lead, marble, meat, olibanum, I have no idea what that is, olives, opium, pearls, rice, silver, tar, tin, and those are just the new ones. We can see the prices right here, of course. Silver works in a similar way to gold, where you directly get money from it. The highest value trade good during this time is gems, of course, followed by jade, tin, and so on. Here we can also see the various government types. For example, all the nations in red are monarchies. All the nations in this yellow-orange are tribal nations. These nations in pink are considered natives, the nations in blue are republics, and the nations in green are theocracies. Basically the four main government types from EU4, along with natives, which aren't present in vanilla. Like I said, in vanilla there's only monarchies, tribes, republics, and theocracies. So this pink one is a new one for this mod. This is what tech looks like around the world. Like I said, these nations are the most advanced, some less advanced in red, and the least advanced in dark red. Like I said, some nations even have zero tech, like these nations over here, nations in Britain, some up here, and so on. We also have some sort of advanced nations in northern China. Going into the ages, we can also see that this mod offers 7 ages as opposed to the regular 4 in vanilla EU4. Right now, we are in the age of empires. We also have the Archaic period, the Classical period, the early Hellenistic period, followed by the late Hellenistic period, then we have the Imperial period, and finally we have the early Migration period. Of course, all of these will have the regular EU4 stuff, such as abilities and objectives. Not to go through each one of them separately. Of course, there will be nation-specific ones, and you can check out all of them for yourself. They all offer a ton of flavor. Checking out the great powers really quickly, Assyria is the #1 great power during this start date, followed by Egypt. Then we have the nation of Chu, which is located right here in China. Then the nation of Qi, located over here. Qi does exist in vanilla EU4, not the same one, of course. Then we have Babylonia. I already showed Babylonia to you guys. After that we have Chin, they're located over here. Medea, located right here, and Panchala, located right here in India. There is also new subject types in this mod. Of course, we have the regular tributary states, for example, this nation, Bacchia has these tributary states. But if we click on the nation of Lydia, for example, we can see that they have tributaries as well. Going over to the nation of Susun, we can see that they have subjects as well, and they are called minor kingdoms. This is basically another form of vassals. Another cool thing in this mod is that there are different government ranks as opposed to regular EU4 where we have duchies, kingdoms, and emperors. Here we have a city, a minor state, a large state, a major state, and an empire. The names are pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. This is the institution map mode where we can see which nations have embraced which institutions. Here I have tagged into Rome. Of course, it wouldn't be a proper video if I didn't showcase them a little bit, and I will use them to show off the institutions first. Here we have the Elephant Domestication Institution. Of course, it's not present all around the world, it's only in India, but these other guys don't get penalties because, well, they don't have elephants. So why would they? After that we have the writing system, which is present all around these nations, followed by coinage. It will spawn in about 5 years. Then we have siege engineering, gives us some nice siege bonuses. After that we have bureaucracy, cast iron, classical philosophy, civil law, axiomatic math, blast furnace, advanced hydroponics, scientific astronomy, engineering and architecture, tactics and strategy, and the final institution is monotheism. Of course, a lot more institutions than vanilla EU4. Here we have Rome's mission tree, pretty extensive. You will have a ton of fun playing it. It's actually one of the biggest trees that I have noticed in this mod so far. This religion that Rome follows is sort of similar to the Confucian faith in vanilla EU4. That's what I'm getting from these mechanics, at least at first glance. And Rome are actually making a decent amount of money. And I feel like those are the most important things that we needed to cover for this mod. It's one of the biggest mods for EU4 out right now. It has over 100,000 subscribers, one of the most popular mods for EU4 of all time, definitely one of the most extensive ones, the most detailed ones, and the ones that most work has been put into. So a huge shout out to Karan Tuki and everyone else that has worked on this mod. One of the best mods for EU4, hands down. And before you say, is this just Imperator Rome in EU4? Hey, this mod has existed before Imperator Rome. In fact, it's been out since 2016, so no wonder it's one of the most popular mods of all time. Like I said, with over 100,000 subscribers. Now, something that you do need to know is that this mod isn't compatible for EU4 1.31, the latest patch, so you will have to roll back to 1.30.6 to play it, but it's literally no big deal. It takes you like 5 seconds to do so, so make sure to roll back to 1.30.6 before playing it. As always, the link for the mod will be in the description. Let me know in the comments below what's the next mod that I should showcase. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe, since only 20% of viewers subscribe, and you can become a member today. And join the Discord, the link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.